Ty here, 8 times up outdoors, back at it again. And today I'm going to be showing you the best way to pack a cooler full of ice to keep it for days in 100-degree weather at Lake Powell. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do when you get ready to build your ice cooler is you're going to want to pre-cool your cooler. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it is super helpful. All I did for this one is throw a 20-pound bag of ice in here, left it overnight for 24 hours. It does sacrifice some ice, it melts off, but it helps get your cooler down in temperature before you fill it with ice for the trip. We've done this before. We were there for 5 days, over 100 degrees heat, and we had so much ice left over at the end of the time. And that was just using this Rubbermaid cooler. It's not one of the Arctics, it's not a Yeti. We needed something that was lightweight, and we felt like we could still keep ice in it for an extended period of time. All right, so the next thing you're gonna do to get ready to build your ice cooler takes a little management, it takes some time to get it all done, and it takes some serious freezer space. But there is alternatives if you don't have a lot of extra freezer space. You're gonna get yourself something like this, little cooler. You're gonna fill it up about 3/4 of the way full of water, and you're gonna put this in your freezer. This knowledge comes from working in bars and with cocktails. Clear ice melts slower. So if you can make clear ice to put in your ice cooler, it is going to last much longer. So what I do is I fill this up about 3/4 of the way full of water. I let it freeze for about 24 hours. You'll have to figure that out with your freezer, but what you want is about 2 to 3 inch slabs of clear ice. I'll show you what these look like. So once you freeze it for 24 hours, you're gonna end up with something like this. You do not want it to freeze all the way to the bottom of the cooler, so that way you get the ice that stays clear all the way through. Right now this is just foggy, but it is perfectly clear all the way through, and this will melt incredibly slow. This will end up being the base layer in the ice cooler. Now, if you don't have room for one of these in your freezer, you can use the same style that's the little lunchbox size and use that. Same thing, fill it up 3/4 of the way. Keep an eye on how long it takes to freeze it about halfway through. You don't want it to freeze all the way to the bottom because that's when you get cloudy ice, and you want this ice to stay clear because it'll last much longer. So you can put one of those in your freezer, you know, deep freeze, whatever you got. If you can fit one of the lunchbox size ones in there, you can do the same method. You're just gonna have to do it more times, but it should take less time to freeze those. All right, so now that I have pre-cooled my ice cooler, I'm going to add some of these bigger ice plates into the bottom of the cooler. So I'm taking that clear ice that we were just talking about. This one happens to be perfect that it can fit 2 plates at the bottom. And then I'm gonna level this out with just regular ice on the bottom here. Okay, so I had some extra gap back here, so I went ahead and put some frozen Gatorades in the bottom, which is also what I'm going to line the next layer with after I pack this down with just regular cube ice. We use Gatorade because Gatorade has salt in it, so it has a lower freezing point than water does, which means at this bottom level, the Gatorade can actually start to refreeze slightly melting ice that comes from above it, which helps you keep your base layer really cold for a lot longer. All right, so as you can see now, I have filled the next layer with frozen Gatorade. I'm gonna fill in all the gaps with this, which is regular cube ice as well. Next up, 2 more plates of clear ice on top of the Gatorade. Next up, I'm gonna put a few waters in here that are frozen as well. The big chunky cubes stay cold for a while as well. Now, I'm gonna make sure I fill that gap in before I put these on top because you want as little airspace as possible in this cooler. Filled in that first airspace, gonna throw another set of these up here. Like so. And now we'll fill in some of the gaps again, level it out. Give it a little shake. And now, in this case, I'm just gonna finish filling this up with cube ice so that we can refill other coolers off of this one. And there you have it. That's what I consider the best way to pack an ice cooler to try to keep ice for multiple days straight in extreme weather conditions. The biggest part is the clear ice slabs. If you can get those and use them as kind of your base for everything, it'll help out a ton. We put some of those clear plates in our food coolers and things like that as well. They just melt way slower than normal ice and help keep things cold for your entire trip. Hope this helped out. If it did, leave a comment below. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe so you can see more videos on helpful tips for fishing, boating, and all things outdoors. For now, I'm out.